Welcome and thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be talking about how to scale smart and choose the right quality management system for your life science company. Before we get started, we'll cover a few housekeeping items. If you need any assistance during today's broadcast, there is a chat function at the bottom of your screen. Send us a message there and we'll work to resolve any issues. There's also a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You can use that to ask questions during today's webinar. Please feel free to ask questions anytime, but we will have a time for dedicated Q&A a little bit later in the presentation. My name is Jessica Madsen. I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at MasterControl.
Hello, I'm John Roderick, Director of Sales at MasterControl.
And we are going to be taking you through these objectives today. So, as smaller organizations start to look at quality management systems, it can seem like there's no perfect answer, right? You're either coming from manual, paper based processes and trying to find something to take you digital, but at a reasonable price. Or you might have a system that isn't meeting your needs, but it can feel like going to something more comprehensive can just be too big and complicated or expensive. So, you need something that will keep you compliant, simplify and automate your processes, grow with you, and all fit in a tight budget, possibly. So, today we're going to outline some key decision drivers and the benefits of different types and sizes of quality management systems so that you can make the best decision for you, your quality department, and your organization as a whole.
So, why do we know so much about the different QMS offerings on the market and how to decide what is best for you? Well, we've been doing this for 30 years and we talk to companies just like you every day. So, from startup companies to the well established organizations, we have over 1,100 customers that have entrusted Master Control for their quality management needs.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the QMS industry is big and has a lot of players that offer a range of capabilities to meet different needs. And your job as a quality manager or director or head of a quality department is to find out which is going to align best with what your organization needs in order to make your quality department a center of excellence for your company and achieve your company's overall organizational goals. So most QMS companies are going to offer you the basics of what you need for quality management, document management and control, training management, quality event management like CAPAs, etc. So today we are going to dive deeper than that, and we're going to talk about some aspects of how you should be evaluating your QMS itself and how it delivers on that functionality and the benefits of each type of approach. We're going to go ahead and start with templates and configurability. So there's really two sides to this. Out of the box templates or the ability to really configure whatever you need. Out of the box templates can have a lot of advantages when you're just getting started. And you may not entirely be sure what you need. You want to make sure that you're aligning with industry best practices. You might be nervous about compliance. Going this route with out of the box templates tends to be very user friendly because you don't have to make any adjustments. There's not a lot of decisions that need to be made. And because of that lack of necessary decision making on how you want your processes to be, because you're just aligning with the industry, it can generally be done more quickly. On the other side, you have configurability. And choosing a more configurable route is really best for quality personnel and companies that have a bit more experience. You may be coming from a company that already has established processes and you don't want to have to change them to meet what a QMS is doing. You would rather that the QMS adapts to your needs. Um, and you may also know that you want to make changes in the future due to continuous improvement. You might have initiatives where you are improving processes and you want them to be adaptable. You may have a really big company where you need to accommodate multiple scenarios like additional products or expanded sites that have different processes. So, the key here is to think about what is going to be best for you today and what is going to be best for you tomorrow and where you really fit on that configurability spectrum.
So let's move on to our next topic, industry alignment, very important. So for life science organizations, you generally have two main categories, a generic QMS or a purpose-built solution that focuses on life sciences, including pharmaceutical, medical device, blood and biologics. The conversation can get especially charged because you take into account all the specific regulations that a life science company and therefore the QMS you use needs to comply with. So if your company provides products for multiple industries and you need your QMS to work with all of them equally, and you are confident you understand all the specific life science regulations enough to manually ensure that the compliance, the many generic QMS solutions may work and may even be purchased at a value price. All quality management software has the same goal: increase efficiency, ensure high quality and digitized processes. And software can help achieve those goals in every industry, including consumer goods, automotive, or food and beverage. However, for software that is designed specifically for life sciences, it isn't enough just to be able to list off the regulations like 21 CFR Part 11, 820, ISO 13485. You guys know the myriad of different compliance regulations there are. These systems need to be designed to meet these compliance requirements, help quality management teams prepare for audits, and have specific features that align with industry standards like FDA and ISO. Companies that provide industry specific software also tend to keep ahead of regulatory guidance and trends in the industry to make sure they remain competitive.
So let's talk a little bit more about those industry specific features, and we'll spend some time talking about validation specifically, and specifically the validation of QMS software for life sciences. Just as John was talking about, there's a lot of regulations that happen here, and this is one of them. All life science quality management software needs to be validated, both at initial implementation and with each software upgrade to ensure that it is fit for use, performing as designed, meeting all of those standards. And this often requires making a validation plan, running tests, monitoring results, all of that. And it also means that you need to identify and understand potential risks because validating your QMS isn't just about checking off that compliance box. It really is to ensure that your system is working as designed so that you are ensuring patient quality and safety. And in this industry, we know that validating can take anywhere from minutes to months, depending on the way that you run your validation and the vendor tools that you have available to you. So let's talk about kind of the different sides of the coin for validation. You have pre validated versus custom risk assessment validation. With pre validated solutions, these are a great option if you're either new to validation or you don't have a deep understanding of things like installation qualification or performance qualification, or you just don't have time to dedicate to validation each time you need to accept a software upgrade, right? We're living in the world of SaaS. Upgrades come fast and furiously. Every time those upgrades come, you may need to perform a validation or risk assessment. That can take a lot of time. So with pre-validation, you just automatically accept the validation documentation from your software provider. And as long as you maintain your same configuration and you don't make any changes, you should be all set. On the other side, if you go with a more configurable system, like we talked about earlier, you're going to need to do something more custom. You'll either need to perform manual validation or and risk assessments or use vendor provided tools that can help make that process more streamlined. And this is especially true in life sciences where you can be issued things like a 483 if you have inadequate validation documentation. So when you're going this route, you really want to make sure that number one, you understand what you're doing. And number two, you're working with a vendor that knows what they're doing and has a lot of experience in this. Something to keep in mind is that the FDA, as I'm sure you all know, has proposed a risk based framework for validating software that is used in quality systems rather than relying on standalone testing. And so, even if you are doing this custom risk assessment and custom validation, it should not be too burdensome. You really should be focusing on those risky processes, those high risk processes that really can affect patient quality. And you should be using vendor tools and documentation to do the rest.
And our last topic is business intelligence. So all quality managers need reporting and analytics to understand current state, improve processes, and ensure everything is running smoothly. And frankly, showing the value that quality can bring in reducing things like quality events or improving training compliance. The evaluation here comes with understanding if you can get everything you need from out of the box reports and dashboards, or if you need something more in depth. So, nearly all QMS providers will have some form of built in dashboards or reporting to cover basic business intelligence requirements. You'll likely have reports for basic quality metrics, like the status of current documents, outstanding approval tasks, past due training, or quality event trends. These reports are by definition easy to use because you don't have to do anything except look at the results and take appropriate action. Vendors that also allow custom reporting usually provide a higher level of control over everything having to do with your data. Think interactive visualizations, tracking custom data fields you created in your company specific CAPA processes, or aligning with your organization's specific KPIs to track achievement over time. This type of control lets you dive deeper into the data, proactively identify problems, and connect data to other parts of the business for a big picture view.
So now we've looked at the pros and cons of many aspects of quality management systems and how they might align with your organization's needs. And now we're going to take the next section to dive deeper into how you can evaluate your specific organization to add another layer of that decision making to finding the right QMS for you. So, first, let's talk about the business impact that a QMS will have on your organization. So, this is looking at things like number one, how much are you willing to spend on a quality management system? How large is your company, on the scale of startup to enterprise? How can you save money and have your QMS make you more efficient so that it is not just a cost center, but that it is bringing value to your organization? So, let's look at what is generally required on the two ends of the scale. For smaller companies, they will likely benefit from a system that is pre-configured, simple, can be implemented quickly. These systems also tend to cost less, and because of that easy configuration, they're easier to implement. And you're usually relying on vendor provided templates and validation. So it's easier to stay in compliance, and there's less overhead of administration, right? You need to consider how much time you have to dedicate to administering a quality management system. Employees at smaller companies tend to wear a lot of hats, have a lot of different roles, and they would likely benefit from some level of simplification and the vendor kind of continuing to simplify and add those pre configured, pre validated options. In medium sized or enterprise companies, you may have more time to spend to implement something because you really want to make sure that you are implementing those configurations that accommodate hundreds of employees, sites around the globe. You may need to adapt to different regulatory bodies, and you may have different processes that run differently, even within that same company. So you may need to implement multiple processes. For example, one division may run their CAPA process differently than another division based on the products they manage or their compliance needs, or even just different management styles. Maybe one has been acquired and they've been doing something a certain way for a long time. Um, and those companies usually have fully staffed quality departments, many personnel that are dedicated to quality management and validation. So they have a little bit more room to and resources to spend on that administration. So, going into evaluating your company's maturity, because that can make a big deal as well. Um, is your company still in the scrappy startup phase, or are you already manufacturing dozens of product lines? Right? The maturity of your company and what you're doing is going to make a big effect on what type of quality management system you need. Companies whose products are still in development or clinical trials likely have less quality data to manage. They may have other types of data, but when they're looking at things like managing quality data or documentation updates, they may need simpler processes. They may be more concerned with that initial documentation and training than they are with managing a lot of quality events. On the other hand, if companies are more mid level or enterprise and they are already have full blown manufacturing operations or integrating with a CDMO, they likely require more complex quality management processes. And they need systems that will efficiently manage those quality events, that will allow for supplier and complaint management. They need to integrate across, you know, an ERP or other elements of a large organization that are in an enterprise environment. They may also already be moving into needing to integrate with like an MES or a manufacturing suite. And then finally, let's talk a little bit about how each company needs to look at their compliance needs. So, how complex are your regulatory requirements? What do those look like? Can you rely on that pre validation, or do you need to validate custom processes? Do you have multiple sites and you need to report to multiple regulatory bodies and have multiple regions around the world? In a startup, that's less likely than it is in an enterprise. And then let's think about audit frequency, right? For startups, an audit might be a special occasion and something that just happens every so often. If you are an enterprise with multiple sites around the globe, you might be looking at an audit that happens multiple times a month, or even at some site around the globe, multiple times a week. And you just need your system to always be 100%, ready no matter what happens. I mean, that should be for any organization, but depending on the level of audit frequency that you see, it's going to make a big difference in the time that you spend managing that. And audits and inspections are a real concern for life sciences companies, as you, I'm sure, well know, because you need to understand how these different systems help you stay compliant. And there's many reasons why customers might have an FDA audit come back with a warning or some type of issue. Some of those findings for 483s are things that can be easily solved by a QMS, right? Poor documentation, lack of training, lack of following proper procedures, doing quality during quality events. These are all things that QMS is designed to help you manage. And really, you need to understand kind of how that is going to fit into your own organization to make sure that you're always coming out of those audits with a positive result, right?
So, our next section, evaluating vendors. We know this is a big decision. You want to obviously do this once and do it right the first time. So, evaluating vendors, we believe there's a couple of different considerations that you need to make. The first one talks about scalability. So, your ideal provider should offer scalability needed for you to grow and adapt along with you as your product line increases, regulatory compliance evolves, and as the industry adopts new technologies. A QMS solution provider should continually provide additional value through frequent software updates, the development of innovative tools, and the introduction of new features to improve your team's efficiency, highlight areas of improvement, and automate manual processes and help you really truly achieve proactive quality. As you evaluate QMS options, look for providers that offer proven solutions, a solid base of long-term customers, a variety of proof of value case studies, and a strong, long-standing reputation in the industry.
Thanks, John. So, with that, and as John mentioned earlier in this webinar, we at MasterControl are lucky enough to be the QMS of choice for many life science organizations. And we have a history of quality leadership and solutions to fit every size of company, no matter what your needs are. So, we've talked a lot today about how to evaluate those needs. Now, let's talk a little bit about how MasterControl can help you no matter where you land on that spectrum. So, for smaller life science organizations who are looking to get started quickly and easily, we have QX Starter, and this is our pre configured, pre validated, scalable solution. It provides out of the box document management, training management, and quality event management, out of the box dashboards for business intelligence. We provide all of the validation documentation so you come completely pre-validated even as the system receives upgrades. And the best thing is that because MasterControl has solutions for every size and scope of life science company, it really is easy to scale your organization and understand that you have room to grow. You aren't going to need to rip and replace, right? Because you're already with MasterControl. For companies who have already got established processes and they have a lot of quality management experience under their belts, we have our traditional quality excellence solutions. And these are configurable so they empower quality managers with flexibility to iterate as they need. We have patented validation tools that we are going to dive into a little bit later. And they are really comprehensive so that you can do anything that you need with your quality management system. So, with MasterControl, you get the best of both worlds. And we are going to dive into some of the topics that we discussed earlier and how MasterControl really goes to market with what we believe in is best practices for these approaches. So, with configuration, as I said, we have QX Starter, which has pre configured configurations and templates that are developed to align with life sciences organizations. And for those companies who need a little bit more extra configuration, you can take some of those templates and edit them as you need, so make it really fast and easy. Or you can use our no code form and workflow builder to completely customize whatever process you need from scratch. So if you have processes that you follow in your organization and you want to have your QMS align with those processes, then we can do that. And that includes custom data tagging for reporting as well. So that means that master control can work for with you from the beginning without any growing pains as you continue to grow and move along the maturity of your organization. And we'll dive a little deeper into validation as well. So, Master Control is really proud to be a clear leader in validation. We developed comprehensive risk based validation tools years before the official FDA guidance on risk assessment and risk based validation because we knew that that's where the industry was going and that that was the best use of our customers' time in order to make sure that their systems were validated. So, you can go with pre-validated documentation if you're looking at something like the QX starter package. And if you have something that requires more of that custom validation, we have our patented tools. These are exclusive to Master Control, Validation Excellence, which provides that compliant and comprehensive risk assessment in minutes, and Validation on Demand, which provides automated validation testing to any of the custom processes and use cases that you've built from scratch to make sure that those are also aligned. Either way, customers who use our validation tools and our validation documentation take anywhere from 45 minutes or less on average to complete a standard validation of their software upgrades. We have many customers who have come to us who have spent months doing validation processes and now have their upgrades down to like 45 minutes. And so it's really great to be able to provide that value, save them that time so they can focus their energies on other things that is going to make their quality department more valuable. So, now let's talk a little bit about business intelligence. Master Control Insights helps you make better decisions faster so that you can improve your processes, improve your compliance, and anything else that you track your data with. We give you options here depending on your package. You can have out of the box reports and dashboards that are based on the pre configurations and track industry standard metrics. And then if you have a one of our quality excellence packages, then you can also look at doing out of the box reports and dashboards or the ability to have totally custom reports and totally custom data tracking. And that's where, as John mentioned earlier, you can really align with your organization's individual KPIs and track those to make sure that you are improving over time. We believe in a data first philosophy that provides visibility into the trends that your organization is seeing, notifications that you can select to make sure that you stay on top of things, and then even moving into predictive analytics so that you can stay ahead and see clearly next areas for improvement when you have time to work on that project. And Master Control has always also been a really big believer in true closed loop quality. In order to improve that efficiency, which is really the goal of quality departments and quality management software. And everything that we do benefits from that focus. So, for example, our quality events, documents, and training are all natively connected and aligned to make sure that everything is traceable, auditable, and automated. We really want to make sure that we are saving you time and making sure that you don't have to do things manually. So, as an example, let's say that there was a customer complaint or a deviation or an audit finding. And after that quality event was assessed for risk, it was escalated to a CAPA. That CAPA can be launched directly from the initial event to make sure that that data is connected and auditable, and you can see the process of how things escalated. So then, once the CAPA has been closed and you've decided that one of the preventative actions may be launching a document change control in order to update a standard operating procedure with the aim of making sure that whatever happened doesn't happen again, you can launch that document change control directly from connected directly to the Kappa and make sure that all of that change control and collaboration process is completely tracked until approval, at which point this becomes a new version of record and the old version is automatically archived. So you have one source of truth. And then that one source of truth can automatically kick off training to all of the affected employees. So they automatically receive a notification in their inbox that a new training is available in order to go and review that updated document. And that can help you provide assurance that everyone has been appropriately trained and is unified in their compliance efforts, and you didn't have to go through and assign any of that training manually. That's all traceable, it's all auditable, and it's all reportable, and you can all see it in the system so that you know exactly what is happening and it's all working in partnership with you in order to take some of that load off of your plate.
One of the other things that we feel like is a master control advantage is our investment to innovation. So much that we dedicate a lot of our significant portion of our revenue back to research and development to make sure our customers are staying ahead of everybody else. Just in the past year, we've had some major launches of some products that we believe have really made a difference in our customers' quality processes. The first one being our advanced quality event manager. This is that no code tool that allows you to develop and build your own quality event workflows on your own. You don't need us as a vendor to do that for you. In addition, we have taken what was normally a very manual, error-prone process in logbooks and helped digitize those, which has been a really big help to our customers. And now with AI being everywhere in the world, we have taken that um, technology and incorporated it into our quality management system as well. So you take a look at things like building a training with an SOP. You look at an SOP and want to be able to develop a training for your employees. Well, using AI, we can look at that SOP and build out a nice multi-question training task for your employees to make sure that they to assess learning and understanding. So gone are the days to just read and understand. We can actually make that training a little bit more intense and better for your employees. Well, with master control, we really do have the advantage we have is the scalability. So whether you're a beginning company and you need to get something out of the box that's completely configured and validated, or something configurable, we have the right solution for you now and in the future. As you evaluate QMS systems, one site that a lot of our clients will go to is a company called G2. G2 is a peer-to-peer review that actually looks at the quality management system market and does evaluation. And Master Control is the life sciences industry's number one QMS. This is based on our presence in the marketplace, as well as our satisfaction ratings that we get from our customers. You can see in the top right quadrant where we sit. So this is in direct response of our customers who are using the system and have had great success doing it. So this next slide highlights our platform. So as we mentioned, Master Control has been in the quality management space for over 30 years and have been really a thought leader with the industry. And take a look at the left-hand side, you see our quality management system platform with document control, training, quality events, some of the things we talked about. But one of the things we didn't mention a lot of is our manufacturing suite as well. So we have a manufacturing execution system that sits on the same platform as our quality management system. So if you are manufacturing in your organization, this is a great way to bridge both those processes onto one platform and really control your quality processes uh, very effectively. So, for example, let's just say you had an operator on the shop floor that hadn't completed a training task. Well, instead of being able to give him the 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 ability to continue on his manufacturing, the system will actually stop you in your tracks and make sure that each one of your operators have been trained appropriately on the most current SOPs. So that obviously helps quality. You think of things like kappa, getting kappa reduction on the manufacturing floor instead of having to wait till product is ready to be shipped out the door. If you can reduce kappa processes, which we've shown to do in a lot of our organizations that have adopted, we show that a lot of our organizations have a 25% reduction in their kappas by implementing the manufacturing uh, system like MX, and then getting product out the door faster. A lot of our customers are wanting to do review by exception in their manufacturing processes. So there's certainly advantages of having both these products on the same platform. They talk to each other, they're integrated, so it really makes a nice transition with your quality processes. We have some great examples of some customers who are really seeing the benefits of using master control. One is Fagron. Fagron is a compounding pharmacy. They have plants worldwide, um, very much in the growth phase of their organization. And they have implemented master control throughout most of their locations across the globe. And then what they're finding is they're nearing a goal of 95% first time output, which is phenomenal. This has really helped them in their evolution of their quality, but also helped them grow their business significantly. And then the University of California, San Francisco, they've been a longtime customer of Master Control, and they've shown that by utilizing our training module, they've been able to improve their training cycles by over 50% with doing it with a lot less effort, getting rid of Excel spreadsheets and tracking that way, and really being more proactive with their training efforts. And in fact, this has helped them accelerate and investigate kappas and deviations at a much faster pace and get them resolved by about 20 to 30% more efficiently and quicker. So you can see that there's certainly metrics behind using master control, both from a quality and a manufacturing perspective.
So thanks, John, for running through some of those stats. We're always excited to see great benefits for our customers. We've now reached the Q&A portion of the webinar, and we have had a few questions come in. So I will go ahead and take a look at those. Let's see. I'm going to start with this one. What future trends should emerging life sciences companies consider when selecting a QMS solution? Okay, so I am going to think about a few things here. Number one, well, we actually have a master control for many, many years has released trend briefs at the beginning of every year. And so we do like to keep our eyes on some of the industry trends. And I'm thinking back to some of those that we included in our trend brief this year. And I really want to highlight AI. So one of the things that we found was that AI, life sciences adopted AI in things like drug development and some data analysis. But we noticed that quality departments had been more hesitant. We're hoping to change that with our AI tools. John spoke about some of the AI tools earlier. Um, and regulatory bodies also have their eye on AI, with both the EU and the FDA recently issuing either guidance or actual acts around how they expect life science companies to handle their AI usage. Um, so, if you want to learn more about that, I invite you to take a look at our trend briefs and dive a little bit deeper into there. There's also some great information in there about things like automation, which we've talked a lot about the importance of automated processes and efficiency. So I invite you to go look at that. But really, I think the topic of the day tends to be AI. So let's see what our next question is. If I start with a pre-configured system and then I decide that I eventually need more, what does that process look like? John, I know that you have actually talked companies through this. Do you want to take this one?
You bet. A lot of companies will come to us because they're not happy with their current paper processes, even though they're on paper still. They want a better process, a better way to kind of standardize their document control, their training, et cetera. So what we offer is a pre-configured system. So this takes our industry best practices. We've been doing this for, like I said, 30 plus years. So taking all those best practices, those workflows that we know are proven, and giving you a pre-configured, pre-validated system is a great way to start off your journey with master control. Then, as your needs change, the ability to be able to configure. Maybe there's a certain data field that you want to add to. Maybe there's a little bit more robust workflows in your approval processes that you want to implement. We can eventually get you there too by by giving you the professional services and support team that'll help you do those additional modifications. So great question. We can certainly start off with the pre-configured system and then evaluate and go from there as you mature.
Thanks, John. Yeah, we have a lot of great people here that help companies do exactly what you were just talking about to make sure that they can get started with what they want now and then can move into what they need later, and with our teams to kind of help them along the way. So we will take one more question. You just mentioned some of the upcoming AI tools. Can you speak more about those? Yes. So we are really wanting to move the industry forward in AI, and we're really excited about a lot of the development that we've been doing with our AI tools. With one of the reasons being that, we want to we understand how the life sciences industry is kind of looking at AI, and we want to make sure that we're doing it safely, and we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that is not, exposing information out to the broader world, but that you're really able to see all of those benefits of AI while still being safe and secure. So that's the way that we are focused on building our tools. John mentioned some of the auto auto exam generator and being able to build those training exams so that you're not relying on read and understood. And we've had a lot of happy customers be able to use that and generate those training exam questions so that they are sure that people weren't just scanning the document, and they have a little bit of extra compliance oomph around them as well, understanding that they're making sure that everybody is properly trained. Some other things that we're doing are things like document translator. So for those types of organizations that have um, sites in many different regions around the world, being able to quickly translate documents. And then our document summarizer can be used in multiple ways to quickly summarize a document so that you get exactly what you need out of it, or even looking at the differences between documents. So those are just some of the initial things that we've been able to do with AI. I trust me, I am in a lot of the product planning meetings. I know there is a lot more to come. We're all very excited about it here at MasterControl, and we can't wait to show you more of that soon. So, with that, we invite you to download our new brief, Getting Executive Backing for Your Quality Management System. Now that we have talked you through, how to make a decision, the different types of quality management systems that are available, how Master Control can help you, we're sure you're ready to get started. So, the next step is really to make sure that you have buy in from the executives at your company so that you can move forward and make this a project that can really bring quality excellence to your organization as a whole and make quality a center of excellence for your company. So we invite you to scan that QR code, download our brief, and then talk to us about how we can help you with quality management. So thank you very much for attending today.